Sooner fans, Longhorn Nation, welcome to episode 185 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to covering the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Texas and the University of Oklahoma. I'm here with my man, Kevin Miller. I am John Whitson. Kevin, SEC Media Days, kind of the first inkling that the football season is agonizingly close. One of the big dog daddies lately, Steve Sarkisian, the head coach for the University of Texas, introduced to media on the SEC network to the backdrop of the Aggie War hymn. Is this the ultimate sign of disrespect? Or is it a play by Steve Sarkisian to somehow rile up the base, get y'all fired up, and get us all in the mindset for college football? It's one or the other, Kevin. Which is it?
It was the ultimate form of disrespect. But guess what, John? As you saw when Steve Sarkisian walked out to the Aggie War hymn, he wasn't fazed by the Aggie War hymn. Just showing you another example that we are never fazed by Texas A&M in any way, shape, or form.
Texas A&M's a joke. I found it funny because I find anything that's, deprecating to the University of Texas to be funny. So there was some humor there. But it's almost I think the Boomer Sooner fight song would have been a troll job. Okay. I think the A&M fight song just speaks to the fact that nobody knows. I mean, nobody cares about A&M. I really don't think, I just don't even think they care about them. Then you've got A&M offensive lineman Armaj Reed Adams. You'll love this. When asked about what he took away from the A&M loss to Texas last year, he replied, "We played them so close, it makes me think we can run the whole SEC."
That's disappointing to hear. Poor kid, man. He's been brainwashed.
Is it disappointing, or is it so typical of A&M? So typical of A&M?
Exactly. It's very, very typical of what you get out of College Station. And, it's disappointing, but not surprising at all. Not news to hear.
Here's the problem, okay? Texas is coming into this, and we're going to talk a lot about Oklahoma. We're just hitting a little high spots with Texas right quick. But Texas is coming in, it's the preseason favorite to win the SEC, coming in with Arch Manning, coming off of 2 college football playoff appearances. It's as good for Texas as it has been since 2005. I think you'd agree.
Yes.
And yet, I think you would also agree it would be incredibly off-putting if one of your players, Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, any of those guys were to say, we're going to run the whole SEC. We run the whole SEC. It would be off-putting to say because you got beat by Georgia twice last year.
Because we have yet to win the SEC.
Because you've yet to win the SEC. I wouldn't talk about Oklahoma. If Oklahoma said something like that, I'd be ragging on Oklahoma just as much. But I would be upset if I was a Texas fan and something to that effect was said. A&M, are you out of your mind? Like, how
I can see, even if you maybe have played for the conference, hey, we're close. We're getting there. But the fact that he used those words, we can run the whole conference.
That's insane.
It seems very, disillusioned for sure.
It's disillusioned, and it's not even true. Like, there's not a semblance of A&M will go 8-4 again. They're going to go 8-4 again. Write it down. They always go 8-4, Kevin. The A&M in Latin literally means 8-4. I don't know if you knew that, but that's true. I'm not making that up. It's 8-4.
Sounds about right.
I just imagine the other SEC schools when they think of A&M have to just shake their head like for the past 10 years been like, what did we do? Why did we let these jokers even in this conference?
Oh, easily. It opened the doors of the state of Texas for recruiting, and of course the TV money from being in the Houston and Dallas markets.
Okay, so you're saying they simply leveraged them, knew they were using them, and as
Yeah,
long as we're all good with it, it's fine.
yeah,
We'll
correct. Not a
just
threat. Not a threat to come in and take over the conference from a winning on the field standpoint. I mean, they've been there since what 2011 or 2012 and have yet to win the SEC West. They haven't even played for a conference title.
I will say that the SEC West was basically the division of death for about 15
Absolutely.
years. So I don't
You
know
would
that
think you
it's.
get it once though, right?
Oh, you think he'd back into it by accident?
You get it once. I mean, Auburn played for it
Yeah,
a few
yeah. You're
times,
right.
and
You're right. No, I look. This is not an A&M podcast, Kevin, but I think we both, as Oklahoma and Texas fans, can always jointly come together on the simple fact that A&M is a complete and freaking joke. And for this kid to say that, along with playing the war hymn, the whole deal, it's insane. Okay. Uh, this is the first podcast we've had since Joe Castiglione announced his retirement at the University of Oklahoma. One of the will go down as a legendary athletic director, not just in football, but in athletics in general, was as good as they get at picking national championship winning coaches, high level coaches, putting programs in positions to succeed, paving the way for Oklahoma to join the SEC at just the right time. Um, do you think the world of college football passed him by in the last couple of years?
maybe I think so. I mean, it happens, right? You have an old school mentality and you do a lot, and then all of a sudden this whole new era ushers in, and sometimes you don't. Either you're not prepared for it, or you just don't want any part of it. If it's gonna be like this, I don't want to do it. And if that's his reason for retiring, I completely understand it.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I think the passed him by comment is probably too harsh. I think the reality is he is an adept administrator and athletic director and is incredibly successful and could make whatever changes he needed to make.
Yeah,
But to your point, I think he goes, all right,
yeah.
you know
I mean,
what,
I've been
I'm
out of
done.
it 30, almost 30 years.
30 years, the thing is
Yeah,
about to go, college football itself is about to go off the rails. I, I don't want any part of it. I work my tail off for gymnastics and softball to win national championships every year, and I get zero credit for that. Golf is a national contending team. Basketball's where it needs to be. Track and field's got multiple wins. It doesn't matter. It's college football. We all know that. And this game has turned into something that I don't necessarily want to be a part of anymore. That's the vibe I got. He
correct.
would never say that. And I don't know Joe C from anything, right? Just being an Oklahoma fan for his entire. I mean, what he did for the university is groundbreaking. He was a groundbreaking athletic director and resurrected a great program by putting the right pieces in place and the right funds in place. You look at the stadium renovations under his watch. You look at just the progression of Oklahoma in terms of a marketing machine, which it has turned into it. He's amazing. I just get the vibe that he was done, and college football is a big reason why.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. It's a new era. Time to move on.
Um, that leads us into Brent Venables, who thanked Joe Castiglione for giving him a chance, and I think he knows that this season is maybe his last chance at the University of Oklahoma. He knows what he has to do, but I did not detect desperation in Brent Venables' press conference. I detected determination and loads of confidence. I look, he's always a confident guy, but even last year, you could sense the dejection in his voice when discussing the prospects of his team week to week. He would come out of his post game or his post game press conference the following week, and you could just sense the fact it's like I'm literally coaching a football team with one hand tied behind its back. Like I can only do what I can do. I don't have an answer. I mean, he was saying none of that, but it was all there in the subtext. It was all there in the subtext, 100%. And I get the vibe that he's feeling pretty darn good about the offensive side of the ball. And honestly, despite losing Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman, a couple other guys, I think he feels really, really, really good about his defense. You've got guys like Robert Spears-Jennings, R. Mason Thomas. That's the two he brought on the defensive side to SEC Media Days. They've been in the program now 4 years running his defense. And he's now decided to be the defensive coordinator. He got a ton of play out of sophomores last year on the defensive side of the ball with hardly any issues. I think he's very fired up. Did you get that sense from BB when you listened to him?
Yeah, he seemed very composed, and it didn't seem like a man who was coaching for his job. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds this year. It's a big year for him, though, right? Regardless of how he handled himself up there, it's a huge year. There's some shifts going on there. There's going to be a new athletic director at the university, right? You never know how that goes. Sometimes these guys want to bring in their own guys. So, yeah, hopefully for him, he can lock in and see what they can get done this year.
Playoff or bust for BB?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, you just got to be. You got to win some games and be competitive. Your schedule really gives you a pass in a lot of ways. I know how you feel. You've been quite vocal about that.
I think that they have given him. We're going to talk about recruiting in terms of purse strings. So let's. I know where that's going to go, and I've got thoughts. But in terms of the transfer portal specifically this year, whether it's the collective or the donors or the universe or whoever pays anybody anymore, right? We can't all keep it straight. The purse strings were opened in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because you're number one quarterback.
Yeah, to get material for sure.
Some are saying a top 3 quarterback in the SEC. Some are saying a top 2 quarterback in the SEC. Especially following this SEC Media Days, he came across like the guy, right? I mean, he was the BMOC, and he's never played it down in the SEC, and people loved what they were getting from him across the board. Jaden Ott, the running back, the receivers. Everything was given to him in order to be successful this year. I am willing to say it's playoff or bust. I'm willing to say
even with that schedule.
I think 8-4, and there's a chance he's not the coach at Oklahoma.
Yeah. Man, I think it depends on how it looks, right? Because sometimes you can have good records and it doesn't really look good. Sometimes you can have a bad record and it looks better than it is. To me, I think if you go 8-4 with that schedule, I think it's a good season. I'm just being real. Your schedule was brutal.
I think he has to go 9-3. Now,
okay, 9-3.
I'm willing to make this caveat. Okay, 9-3, and he doesn't get in the playoff, but he's on the bubble, right? He's South Carolina from last year, or Alabama from last year, or Ole Miss from last year, right? He's on the bubble. He was in contention. I'm willing to make that caveat, I guess. 8-4. Listen, dude, there's an expectation at the University of Oklahoma that we're going to win and compete for championships.
Yeah.
I don't think you settle for 8-4. I think you send a clear message to recruits, to donors, to boosters, to the athletic department, to the kids that are playing there today. We're not playing around at 8-4. I don't care. I don't care what the schedule is, Kevin.
I'm not arguing with you on that.
Dude, we boat rolled an Alabama team last year. Okay? Which we had no business boat rolling them. And you know why? Because our Jimmies and Joes are just as good as theirs are right now. They really, really are. Outside of Ryan Williams, who is on a different level. I mean, I think the quarterback, John Mateer, I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be at Alabama.
Neither do they.
We have a better quarterback than they have. Whoever they pull up on their roster, John Mateer is a better quarterback.
I'm not arguing. Yeah.
Defensive statistics last year, Oklahoma was better defensively than Alabama was, and we're returning more production on the defensive side of the ball. I'm picking on Alabama, but I'm using them as a gauge, right? I'm not saying we're Georgia. I'm not even saying we're Texas, although that's a foul. I mean, talk about a fallacy. If I can't say we can compete with Texas, what are we doing? Which I think we can.
Well, here's the thing. There's competing with Texas in the Red River Shootout, and then where the two schools might be as a program right now. Those are two separate things.
Agreed. And Texas, you talk about how hard OU schedule is going to be. Texas will have a harder schedule than they did last year. Nowhere in the ballpark of Oklahoma's schedule.
Correct.
But they will have a better, because they have to go to Florida on the road and A&M.
Florida will be better.
And Georgia on the road.
Yeah. Correct.
But my point is, I'm using Alabama in a microcosm here, right? Clear, they're a common opponent their opponent with common opponents, and we saw them last year. We were able to just really dominate a game in the trenches, right? You'd agree with that?
Yes, correct. Okay. You were the more physical team.
And Jalen Milroe was their quarterback, who is now on an NFL roster. We don't know what he's going to do in the pros, but he was a very, very good quarterback.
Correct. Yes.
And so this year it's different. They don't have a quarterback. We probably will have a better defense than them. They expect Alabama to finish second or third in the SEC. Every preseason pick is Alabama to be second or third. It's Texas, Georgia, Alabama. Alabama never gets to one, but they've been second and third, depending on if you put Texas first or Georgia first, then it's Alabama, right there. I am telling you, as far as programs go, where they're at right now, not a year from now with recruiting, not any of that kind of stuff. I'm saying right now, going into 2025, there is absolutely no reason Oklahoma cannot compete or should compete and be on par with Alabama at 9-3. It shouldn't. I'm sorry. And Alabama's schedule is every bit as hard as Oklahoma's. It's every bit as hard as Oklahoma's, and they've got to play Georgia.
They do that. I'm really fascinated to see what happens with Alabama this year. Right, year 2 under Kalen DeBoer, up and down a lot last year. Right, the offense never really looked like Kalen DeBoer offense, at least what we had seen at Washington. Right. Does he have the guy on campus that can run what they were running with Penix? Because that offense was hard to stop.
Dynamic. It's dynamic.
Big time. And again, he had studs at receiver at Washington. Right? He had better receivers at Washington than he had at Alabama. Even with Ryan Williams. No, he did. Trust me. He had 3 guys who went in the first 2 rounds at Washington.
We loved those guys when they were there. We talked about them. Ryan Williams is special though.
He's a stud. Yeah.
But
yes, you have Ryan Williams last year compared to as a core. 100%. Yeah, freshman Ryan Williams compared to McMillan and Rome Odunze and I forget the other kid. But 3 guys who went in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft at Washington. So what's he going to look like this year? Who's the quarterback going to be? Are they going to be able to run the ball at all? I think that'll be good defensively. Right, they're pretty good on defense at Washington too. But yeah, they get the benefit of the doubt because they're Alabama. Right. I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying I agree with that. But, that's just how it works.
I agree with you. I agree with you. They're getting the benefit of the doubt for Alabama. I also think it's silly to think they're not going to be really good.
Yeah.
That's not. I'm comparing Oklahoma to Alabama because I think Alabama is going to be really good. What I'm saying is Oklahoma has no excuse not to be right there with Alabama. No excuse, Kevin.
Yeah. But you can't have.
What am I missing? What offensive line play? Maybe? Is that the one thing you could point to?
I think the question, and then, of course, the receivers, right? What are you going to get out of those guys?
Dude, they're running the plan, as far as I know, is to run some version of the air raid.
Yeah.
It's air raid principles, right? It's all from the same tree. Dude, listen. Do you ever remember a wide receiver at Texas Tech outside of Crabtree?
I mean, yes, but nobody who was a superstar.
Wes Welker, but he wasn't
Yeah.
Wes Welker until he was with New England.
Yeah. Well,
You
he
know,
just
does that make
absolutely
sense?
destroyed Texas back in 2002. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Oh, did he
To
really?
your
Is he
point,
that?
yes.
Is he that old? Is
Oh
he
yeah, he catching
2002?
passes from Kingsbury.
God bless.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But does that make sense? So my point is,
No, I know. I hear what you're saying.
if the system is what we think it's going to be,
Yeah.
and we've got a quarterback that is pretty. I'm saying it again. I don't want to be repetitive. I'm just saying I think we could be okay. All that to be said, when we turn around and look at what's happening in the program at Oklahoma, I am very excited about 2025. I am very trepidatious about what's going forward. In our pre-show conference, you talked about recruiting and Oklahoma's. Where were you going to go with that?
Well, obviously OU's been struggling a little bit. They've lost some recruiting battles. That happens, right? Texas lost. They had 4 straight big time guys that they were in for that they lost. Now, obviously, they've had a great week, the day of SEC Media Days, taking 2 5-stars from Georgia, one from the state of Georgia, one from Florida, who had been committed to Georgia. That's probably why Sark was unfazed by the Warham, because he already knew what was happening. Hey, I'm not worried about anything. I've got a 5-star linebacker about to announce and a 5-star defensive lineman about to announce. So, but with Oklahoma, you have those losses, but it's such a new concept with Jim Nagy as a GM. And I have some questions that I don't know what you've heard. You're a little bit more plugged into the local, sports media scene than I am when it comes to OU. But I don't know if you know the answer to this, but with Jim Nagy, right? Does he make all the decisions on who they're recruiting? I just wonder what that process is like. Is he exclusively, him and his staff, exclusively looking for talent? And then does he bring them to Venables to evaluate? And if so, how does that work? At the same time, how does Brent Venables feel about that? We all know Venables, he's OG, old school football coach. When you think of a football coach, you picture someone like Brent Venables, right?
100%.
Personality wise, the look, all of it.
Running stadium steps. Yeah.
Correct. So how does he feel about, if that's the case, kind of like, remember what Parcells said back in the day? If they want you to cook the dinner, they should at least let you shop for the groceries.
I don't think he's getting to shop for the groceries.
I wonder how he feels about that. With him being an old school coach.
I think he's relieved.
Do you?
Yes.
As an old school coach,
yes,
not being able to pick his own players.
Well, first of all,
if that's the case, I'm
not saying he doesn't exclusively get to pick his own players. Okay, I'm not saying he never has input or has thoughts on kids, and that's not what I'm saying. I am saying the tasks that are related to recruiting, the homework that is related to recruiting, all of that stuff combined with NIL is the worst part of coaching football.
Right.
It's the worst part of coaching football. Having to deal with 18-year-old kids and their families is the worst part of college football. For a coach, is my guess. Yeah. I mean, some guys are so good at it. I mean, they're Wishbone's coming on the SEC network here tonight. And you're going to see Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer was the best probably ever. Probably the best recruiter ever in the history of college football. Some could say. When you look at the talent he brought into the University of Oklahoma. But not everybody likes recruiting. And I think there's an element where Brent Venables is like, I'm going to have to cede some control. And if that control means they're going to tell me the 5 players that I need to concentrate on, and I'm good with these 5, and my only job as the head coach, well, maybe not 5, but the 30 or so targets that they have. My only job as a head coach is to go sell the program. I don't have to review all these guys. I think there's some relief there, Kevin. I really, really do. I think there's relief. And I think, look at DeMarco Murray. If DeMarco Murray all of a sudden doesn't have to, and I still think he does to an extent, watch film, especially on the targets. But if he doesn't have to sift through 50 running back targets for the next year, but instead gets presented, here's 8 guys we think you should focus on. I think DeMarco Murray is saying this is a win. I don't have to get in the weeds. I get to go. You're telling me these are the 8 guys. I'll go focus on these 8 guys. I think that's
how they feel.
I imagine that's the scenario, right?
Okay.
Like DeMarco.
I don't know, but just because, man, football, they have a hard time to change, right? They like things being the way they've always been. That's why Nick Saban's not coaching anymore. This whole NIL, I'm out of here. That's why Chip Kelly's like, I don't want to be a head coach. I'll be a coordinator. I'll design your offense, call plays. So just with something like that changing so much where you're not picking your own guys, I just wonder.
I still think
if that's the case, I'm not saying that's what it is.
I still think they're picking their own guys. But the pool that they're choosing from is a whole lot smaller.
Yeah.
The pool that they're choosing from has been whittled down by Nagy and his staff, right? And on Monday morning, when they send an email of tight end targets to Joe John Finley is presented with a complete package and evaluation of 5 tight ends and told, these are your targets. Do you like one of these guys more than the other? If so, why? We think they're ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in addition, from a monetary standpoint, just so you know what you can say, we're prepared to offer a package in this order to these 5 guys. And you don't have to worry about, the offensive coordinator doesn't have to now worry about what he's paying the 3rd offensive lineman. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it's a relief. All that to be said, Kevin, I think the issue is you talk about Texas is losing battles. Texas is losing 5 stars.
Yeah.
Oklahoma is losing 4 stars and 3 stars. And here's I'm not even going to mention the guys because it doesn't matter who the players are. But I'll tell you what does matter is the schools we're losing to. Okay? We're not losing to Alabama, Georgia, and Texas, and Ohio State, and even USC. Here's a school here in the most recent losses of high-profile recruits: Illinois, Oklahoma State, Kentucky, Nebraska, and a 3-star legacy player to Utah.
That was Jefferson's brother, right? Tony Jefferson's brother.
Kevin, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we? If the University of Oklahoma has eyed a target, and his idea is Moneyball, his idea is maximizing the value, his idea is finding, and I'm talking about Nagy, his idea is finding a needle in a haystack type situation. Once we've identified the target, then, and this is one of Nagy's guys that he's identified, if that's the case, you can't lose that dude to Illinois. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. This is also new, right? So I'm not trying to trash the strategy, but it's so new. I'm just curious how it's going to work. And I know he says we don't look at the recruiting ranking websites to see where other evaluators have these guys ranked. We just watch the tape and then we decide from there. I get that. All I'm saying is, in this conference, the team with the best players are the teams that are winning the national championship every year. Texas lost to two teams, and I thought that Georgia and Ohio State were the only two teams in the country that had a better roster than Texas did last year.
Yes.
Right? And that explains them losing to both of those schools, right? As frustrating as it was, at least I understand it, right? I just,
Look,
after what happened last year, I think where Oklahoma finished 17th last year
yes.
in the country in recruiting. And again, it's like, okay, well, 17 makes you like 10th in the SEC.
I will acknowledge that. However, they did really well in the portal. So it
Yeah.
balances that 17 out, right?
Yeah, but the
And
the other teams above you are still bringing in guys in the portal too.
I don't disagree. I don't
Yeah.
Kevin, I want to be very clear. There's a dichotomy of thought in my head right now as it relates to the University of Oklahoma. I think we better go 9-3 this year. And not just we need to go, I think we absolutely can do it with the roster composition, who we have on returning on defense, who we have under center, who we have an offensive coordinator, who we have calling defensive plays, who we are playing against based on their rosters. I think we can go 9-3 again. 9-3. I don't think that is unreasonable. I am concerned about 2026. And not just because we're ranked 30. What are we? We're ranked 33rd in the nation on 247. Texas is ranked 6th. I'm not saying the grass is greener. What I'm saying is if Nagy has a process and that process identifies players, and then you get into a competition with other schools for those same players, you can't lose to Illinois.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're all going to be in the same boat for guys. Bo Bentley, right? That's a great win. Bo Bentley's
Correct.
a great win for Oklahoma.
Yes, and you got him over LSU.
You got him over LSU. That is a great win. If you lost Bo Bentley to a said LSU or Ohio State or whoever else he was looking at, okay, hey, that's all right. We're in the conversation. I'm saying you identify a low 4-star and you go, hey, dude, you're the dude that I want playing it. You don't lose him to Kentucky.
Yeah, correct. Illinois.
Kentucky. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Illinois, but I got
no. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm agreeing. Like it's like Illinois. Like you can't lose players at Illinois.
No,
you can't.
I don't care.
Guys that you want, not just guys that you have an offer. Guys that you're really pushing for.
So again, I don't know if his rationale is Moneyball. That's what everybody wants to point towards is this kind of Moneyball mentality. And maybe he identifies this kid that's the Illinois he signed, or committed to Illinois. Maybe Nagy identified this kid and said, okay, I like this kid, guys, you go after this guy, but under no circumstances do you spend more than $500K. Like, that's it. And if he doesn't want to play at Oklahoma for $500,000, we can lose him. I don't know if that's the answer. And if that's what happened, I guess we have to trust the process. It is definitely to be determined if the Jim Nagy effect is positive for the University of Oklahoma.
Correct. Yeah, it's wait and see. That's why I'm not trying to bash yet. But I think OU fans rightfully are concerned just because this is such a new strategy, right? And just like hoping it'll work, trying to trust it and hoping it would work. It will work ultimately. Real quick, I'm looking at your schedule, right? And we've done this before, but I think it's always a good time to visit it, and that's because it's what we do here. I want to talk about the Michigan game, and the closer we get to the schedule, the bigger that game becomes.
Yes.
For the outlook on OU season. I still think it's going to be really tough for Michigan to come into Norman and pick up a win with a true freshman quarterback.
Correct.
I just see that being very, very difficult, especially if they're running the same type of scheme that they ran last year. And, their best receiver was their tight end, who's now in the NFL. Right?
Yeah. And they don't
What's
have.
it going to look like for them?
I don't even think they have a returning running back. Really, do they?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, I
They
think
had.
both their running backs are gone too. So, look, they're going to have good players. They're going to be tough. It just seems like a tough ask for them to come into Norman, even with, new, you running a new scheme with Arbuckle and Mateer. It might take some rhythm, but,
It's Kevin. It's a must win.
correct.
It's a must win for Oklahoma.
Correct.
Um,
And 2 weeks later, I mean, obviously Temple going to Temple.
whatever.
Again, why are you up playing at Temple? Well,
Because
but
SEC scheduling sucks.
yeah, but I know I'm just wondering why you going to Temple. I get why you're playing against Temple. I just don't know why you're going to there. Are you gonna go?
That Philadelphia TV market is just a really big draw.
Yeah, for real. It's like, are you gonna start recruiting Philly? There's some
Exactly.
guys up there, but I mean, if you can get Philly to Norman pipeline going. But the game after that, the Auburn game, for multiple reasons. Right, obviously Jackson Arnold, if assuming he is named their starting quarterback, Jackson Arnold coming back to Norman. They've got good players. Auburn has talent. They really do. That's a fascinating game on your schedule. How are you feeling about that? Just as we get closer to fall camp starting.
I don't think you can poo-poo anybody on an SEC schedule. Okay?
I agree.
I don't think I can. I don't think it's. I don't think you can just simply go, well, they're Auburn, they suck. Move on. I think every SEC team has to be taken individually and with a certain amount of seriousness, right? The fact that you're playing an SEC game, any of these teams can beat you. I mean, hell, listen, Oklahoma and Texas better not forget that any of the Big 12 teams could beat them too, right?
Right.
We lost plenty of both schools, especially Texas, but both schools lost plenty of stupid games in the Big 12. So to think that you can just roll out because you're OU and they're Auburn is stupid. However, we did beat this team last year at home, at their home with a backup quarterback making his first ever. He's a true freshman making his first ever start.
Yeah.
True freshman making his first ever start in the vaunted SEC. And we won. I just don't see a scenario where if Oklahoma plays a solid game of football, a B+ game of football, that they can't beat Auburn.
Yeah.
At home. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If they come out, I mean, if Mateer has 3 interceptions, a la.
Yeah, anything could happen.
And JFA suddenly figures out how not to have turnovers, then of course it's a ball game. But just in terms of if Oklahoma plays a B+ game, I don't think an A+ game from Auburn beats them in Norman.
Understood.
I think Jackson Arnold has the potential to still be a pretty good quarterback. I think
I'm glad you said that.
Look, Hugh Freeze is a good offensive coordinator. Like, we know this.
Yeah. Just because, I mean, he had everything going against him last year. Literally everything. He had an effective offensive line play and experience. Every receiver he had was hurt. I mean, everyone that he was looking forward to throwing to was injured. And you had just utter incompetence from a coordination and play calling standpoint.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So he literally had all those, and that's just a lot for an inexperienced guy. I mean, you can have Baker Mayfield out there. I'm talking 2017 Baker Mayfield, and it would be some challenges. When you have everything going against you, you can't run the ball. You have the receivers who are younger than you.
We forget the big talk was that the coaches gave up on Dylan Gabriel in favor of Jackson Arnold.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel doesn't win us. He might make one game. He might beat Missouri.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's not making and
It was like a tough situation. As good as he was.
He's a Heisman finalist. He was
Great
a Heisman
player.
finalist and well deserved. But maybe they beat Missouri. Maybe he makes some up for some ills and they squeeze one out of Ole Miss because Ole Miss was not playing well that game.
No, the Ole Miss game was there for the taking.
Dylan Gabriel
doesn't have any kind of.
Dylan Gabriel didn't beat Texas last year. No way. No way. Dylan Gabriel didn't beat Texas.
No, just because Texas could have just keyed in on his runs, and his running is why you beat us in 23.
Let me ask you this: does Dylan Gabriel beat Tennessee?
Yes.
That's the game.
You beat Tennessee.
And Kevin, this is what I'm saying. We just said 3 games that, given competent quarterback play, despite everything else, are very much on the table for wins.
Yeah.
And now we have what is routinely believed to be a very competent play caller and offensive coordinator. We have a much improved situation at quarterback, everybody believes. We have receivers that we think are capable of catching longer than a 5-yard pass. Remains to be seen. I think the tight end is a joke. I think the running backs are going to be improved with Jaden Knott. So, again, it goes back. I take it back to say we got to be 9-3. Okay. Shout out our sponsors real quick, and then we'll talk a little bit Texas. This has been OU heavy, but that's okay. We were Texas heavy last one, right? I think we were. Brown O'Haver has been here since day one, and they've been in Moore, Oklahoma since 2006. The public insurance adjusters work for the insured, not the insurance company. Their job is to get you paid on your insurance claim, and they routinely get their clients 30 to 40% more than they would have gotten on their own. If you've had a loss to your home or your business that's required you to file an insurance claim, call Brown O'Haver, 405-735-5510. Kevin, it's that time of year where if you had hail damage in the spring, that you are fixing your roof. Roofs are going up all over the state of Oklahoma. If you're looking for a competent, and not just a competent, an excellent roofer in the state of Oklahoma, who do they need to call?
You need to call Pioneer Roofing. They'll go out, give you a free inspection, let you know if you need a roof replacement, maybe you need a repair, or maybe your roof is just fine and you don't need anything. Get that reassurance of knowing that you won't need a roof for the rest of the season, okay? Unless there's some crazy hailstorm that pops up, which can happen because this is Oklahoma, right? So yeah, give Pioneer Roofing a call, 405-549-2712.
Okay. Besides the A&M Warham or Aggie Warham debacle with Sark, what was your biggest takeaways from SEC Media Day for Texas?
Definitely Arch Manning. Just poor guy. I almost feel bad for him because you can see he's a low key guy, and the tension is just there. And thankfully for him, he's been trained and prepared, knowing that this is how it was gonna go. But it's a lot, man. It's a lot. It seems like every media member there, every radio show that was there, every TV show that was there, every podcast that was there, and they all wanted a piece of him, right? You see when he's doing his open interview session, and there's, every media member seemed to be there, right? He's being asked to do a lot of questions, a lot of the same questions, just kind of maybe phrased differently. And I thought he handled himself very well. So yeah, it was just Arch Manning and all the hype that he's getting particularly from the national media.
Who were the other 2 players that Texas sent?
Okay, see, and
I don't
easy to see that, right? Yeah, because it was all about Arch. Anthony Hill and Michael Taft, the safety.
Oh, you know what? You're right. And I made a note about Michael Taft. It is hard to say nice things about people from Texas, people from the University of Texas. You know this, right? I have a hard time.
You do.
And come Saturday, I will be cussing Michael Taft from the sidelines in the Cotton Bowl, like real cuss words, Kevin. And I don't think that's a unlikely scenario where I'm using real cuss words to describe Michael Taffy. What he's doing for the victims of the flooding in South Texas and what he represented with his tie, touch of class.
Yeah.
Absolute touch of class. We haven't talked about it. We haven't been on the show. You and I. We are from San Antonio, Texas. I don't know about you. I have, I have, I have. What's the word?
Roots.
What do you? No, 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 no. What do you do with a? I have tubed down. I've been in
Oh
a.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying
Floating,
to say.
floating in the river.
Inner tube. Yeah, I've inner
Yeah,
tube down the Guadalupe River. I have.
correct. So
And
have I.
dude, the thing, yeah, everybody does it. It's what you do.
Everybody has.
And it is not a very big river most of the time. It is.
No,
It just isn't.
no. It's a
And
really calm, fun.
to see what happened down there, it just broke my heart. My brother still lives in San Antonio, and I got two young girls. Those families have gone through is horrific, and
Devastating.
what that guy's doing, what he did with his tie and the initials on the tie, and how he's trying to raise money and support the families. Touch of class to Michael Tapp. I will not be giving him that touch of class nod on the second Saturday in October, but I will on July 17th. That's really good stuff by that guy. He's a well-spoken kid, man. Well
Yeah,
spoken.
he's a great story from him. Walk on, went to Westlake, showed up in the state championship game, and picked off Ewers twice in that game.
Oh, I think that could be more on
Yeah,
Ewers' mechanics than it is Taffy's nose from the
maybe
ball. But
so.
go ahead. But go
Maybe
ahead.
so. I mean, really good Westlake defense. Three players from that Westlake defense currently playing for Texas now. And anyway, he walked on at Texas and has earned a scholarship and became a starter. So yeah, it was great to hear him there. And of course, Anthony Hill, just what a stud he is. We knew coming in with him as a freshman, he was going to be a guy. Came in more of a great athlete than a great football player. A guy who can rush and hit really hard, but you know have to develop in coverage. And yeah, he's gotten really good. We're expecting a big season from him. So it was great to see those guys representing the university out there. So just ready to see him on the field this year.
Yeah, I mean, Arch did look like a prototypical frat boy. I think we can agree with that.
Oh, with the sport coat, yeah, he looked like. I mean, he's straight up an SEC guy.
Oh, I
I
mean,
mean, with the white pants and the navy sport coat, I mean that's straight
he's
up SEC frat guy.
he is
100%.
100% the kid that goes to the Ole Miss football games in his
Yes.
shirt. That
Yes.
like,
Uh huh.
that is what
Wearing
he looked
that.
like. And you're right, the amount of media attention. But I mean, it's to be expected. He's got to know that,
He
and
knows. He knows,
he made
and he understands.
zero missteps, all the right answers, one game at a time. Looking forward to the opportunity to compete. Blah blah blah. He had the talk track down, which is what you have to do.
Correct.
He's a quarterback at the University of Texas. Mateer might not have gotten Arch level of scrutiny because his name's not Manning, but got a high level of scrutiny and passed the test with flying colors. That's what
Agreed.
the good ones know how to do this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Hey, real quick, I know we're talking about Texas, but did you see the trolling questions from the Missouri guys to our Oklahoma guys?
I did not know.
Some reporter, it seemed like two reporters, just kept trolling them and asking them, what happened at Missouri? What do you think about the Missouri game? How'd you let the Missouri game slip away? What did you think about the Missouri game? Tell us what your thoughts were on the Missouri game.
So the R. Mason Thomas and who was the third player you brought?
Robert Spears
Robert
Jennings.
Spears. Okay.
And they were fine. They did not rise to the bait.
Not gonna.
But I thought
Yeah.
it was kind of bush league, man.
It's cheesy, man. Come on. Come on, man. Yeah.
Okay, bro. We get it. You beat Oklahoma. Well done. Well done. Kudos.
Yeah. I do
worst
like
Oklahoma
how
team in the last 26 years. Yep, you did. You got them.
I do like how they consider you guys a rival.
Yeah, it's like now our version of Oklahoma State.
Yeah. But at least with Oklahoma State, at least like you're in the same state. Right? And it's like the only two major universities. It's how I consider Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Even though we're in the same state, but it's like we're like, oh, we're rivals. No, we're not. Like,
Yeah.
We're your rival, but we don't really be thinking of you. Real quick though, speaking of Texas Tech, how about their recruiting stuff? All the money that they're throwing around, pulling Felix Ojo, stealing him from Texas. Did you hear about that?
Oh, absolutely.
5-star offensive lineman.
I think that they will finish 8-4 in the Big 12, and it will not matter a hill of beans. I
Yeah.
do not think they can. I do not think they have. I do not think their story will be the same as softball, where they're within, where they can roll out Najeri candidate who can single handedly affect
Isn't that crazy?
a season,
They pay
right?
you her $1 million, and they got her within one game of winning the
One game
national
of the
championship.
one game of the national championship. That's legit.
That is
I
legit.
don't think they can get that same return at Texas Tech, because you'll get the splash higher, but as we both know, it's not your best offensive lineman. It's your 5 offensive linemen, and oftentimes it's your 8 offensive linemen after you've gone through 6 weeks in the SEC that determine whether you win a game or not. Same thing on the defensive side. It's not your best defensive lineman. It's what's your 4th guy and 5th guy look like, because that's going to be the difference. And I don't think they can pull. I think it would have been better use of their money to go get 4 4-stars at offensive linemen than go spend all the money to get 1 5-star.
And here's the thing: some people were upset about it. Some Texas fans were.
Oh, get
I'm
over
not
it.
upset about it at all.
Get over it.
Yeah, I'm not upset about it at all. Listen, if this is a game, this is how it goes. If you can legally pay a guy to come to your university, and if you say, I'm going to pay you twice as much as the school you were probably going to go to, and if they won't match it, come here. And I'm not mad at him. Take the money, kid. Take the money.
No.
Go get it.
Look,
now, hopefully for him,
this is a hate the game, don't hate the player situation.
Yeah, correct. And hopefully for him, Texas Tech can give him the type of development that he would have gotten at the other schools he was considering, like Texas, like Oklahoma, like Ohio State, like Michigan.
He will not.
For him, that's what I hope. But take the money, man. I'm not upset about it.
I think there's an argument to be made that it could be a short-term, short.
Where was it? It was a 3-year thing. It was a 3-year.
Well, what I mean is that this could be a short-sighted decision.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to be developed. He's not. It's just not the case. I think we can empirically say, based on what Texas has produced over the last 3 years at offensive lineman, that he would be better developed at the University of Texas, at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Maybe even Oklahoma. Look at Oklahoma's.
Well, yeah, I mean, with Beatonbow, I mean, the results are there historically.
Look at OU's offensive lineman production in the pros. Creed Humphrey is the number 1 paid offensive lineman in the NFL right now.
Yeah, stud, by the way. It's like Texas's strategy, though, when it comes to they'll pay big, but not that extreme, especially for a guy, because he's not like Kelvin Banks, where Kelvin Banks started instantly. And the craziest thing about Kelvin Banks starting instantly for Texas is that he did not show up in the spring, right? Most guys
That's amazing.
Get there in January, they go through all the spring workouts, then they go through spring practices, then they go through summer workouts, then you go through fall camp. He showed up in June at Texas, so barely went through some summer workouts. Fall camp, you're the starting left tackle. Week 2, goes up against Dallas Turner and Will Anderson and doesn't even give up a single pressure. Felix Ojo is not like that. First of all, I think Fasusi can be that. I would have paid that much money for Fasusi, but I think Fasusi's I think so, because I think he's going to be good to go this year.
I think he's going to play this year.
I think he's a plug and play guy.
I think there's a scenario. I think there's a scenario where he is starting. I think he gets significant play in the Michigan game, and if he performs, he could start by Auburn.
I don't know what you're hearing. It wouldn't surprise me if you started him week 1.
Really?
If the lights would just come, I think he's that talented. Yeah, I think he's that type of guy. Well, I think he's a Kelvin Banks type of guy. So I just
mean that when you go up against Michigan, you're going up against big boys, whether they're where they want to be or not. Michigan's got big boys.
Defensively, we know they're going to bring it. They're going
And
to be
so
physical, and they're going to
I
be
will. I think
sound.
my point being, if he struggles against Michigan, it could set him back
Okay,
to
yeah,
being a full time starter. It could be a wake up call, or it could be an affirmation of exactly what you're saying.
yeah. Like I said, I have serious questions about the recruiting that you guys have done over the last two classes, particularly last year. But the two tackles, Fasusi and Foji, I really like both of those guys, and
And
we haven't gone head to head.
Eddie Pierre Louis on the interior is not too bad either.
Okay,
EPL.
looking forward to seeing him. We don't have a ton of head to head battles as of late, but
No,
I can tell you,
because
Fasusi,
we're losing 3 stars to freaking Illinois. But go ahead.
but Fasusi, that one hurt, man. I'm telling you, that one really, really, really stung. So um, I'm looking forward to seeing him because I really think he can be a day one type of guy. At least, like you said, a year one starter. Ojo, who's going to Tech, I don't see him being ready to go year one, and that's the problem with paying high school recruits like that kind of money. You're doing it for a guy who may not even be contributing for 2 years.
And in addition, you run the risk of upsetting the apple cart in the locker room.
Correct.
You just do. You just do. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
The NFL is different because everybody knows what the sliding scale is in the NFL.
Correct. There's a hierarchy there.
Everybody knows what the first 30 picks in the NFL will get paid. Everybody knows it.
Right.
You can't hold it against the kid who gets drafted 13th from making 18 million a year or whatever that
Yes,
13th
it
kid
is what it
makes.
is.
It
Yeah.
is what it is. That's not the case in college football right now. And there can be real resentment. And I think look, dude, we've seen teams buy classes. A&M, of course, we've been
Yes.
bashing A&M all day. Miami, A&M, we've seen this. It's not a guarantee.
It's not sustainable. No.
Yeah.
It isn't. So, also, as far as Texas goes, man, the recruiting, though, nice to have a good recruiting week. Tyler Atkinson, 5-star out of Georgia. James
Yep.
Johnston, flip from the University of Georgia. He's out of Miami. Really, really excited about those two. They're also in for 5-star running back Garrett Cooper, also out of Miami, Florida. For me, this is the best part about when A&M went to the SEC. We talked about this just a few minutes ago in 2012. What that did was it opened the doors of Texas to Alabama, Florida, all those schools. They started coming in and they started getting some of the best players in the state of Texas, right? Guys who were normally going to Texas, OU, you go to LSU, right? Because that's so close to Houston. But now these guys are going to Alabama, they're going to Georgia, they're going to Florida, they're going to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has got incredible, talented players out of Texas. So now with us being in the conference, now it's opened the doors of Georgia and Florida and Mississippi. Incredible, and of course Louisiana. Just unreal talent in those states, right? Now we have an open pipeline to those. So, that's one thing they have to deal with. And I know Georgia fans and other schools are upset about us going in there and getting guys from there. But it's like, listen, you've been raiding Texas for a decade now. So now it's nice for the favor to be returned to them.
You said it. Oklahoma's got their sights on some pretty good dudes. I know there's a guy out of IMG. They've got a couple in Texas.
Cruel.
They got a couple.
Right?
Yep. And then they've got a couple in Texas lined up. One of them, a tight end's already signed with them. I don't know who the names are. I'm not. You know me.
You got the receiver, Davian Gross from Frisco, who's an OU lean. He hasn't announced yet, but I mean he's a talented guy too.
There's some guys there, but I don't know. I don't want to go back on that rant. That is frustrating. Real quick, while we're picking on A&M and Missouri because they're just clowns. What did you think about Drinkowitz wanting a 30-team playoff?
I didn't hear about that. 30 team?
Yeah, he thinks we need a 30-team playoff using the same math that they use in the NFL.
Oh, like as far as the percentage of all the teams?
Percentage of all the teams, it needs to be a 30-team playoff. Is he out of his damn mind?
He, yes, clearly, clearly.
I mean, I
When is
guess
it
it could
supposed
be
to
a
start? November 1st?
well. I don't even. Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. I guess there's an argument that he could be saying stuff for clickbait and just to get people talking and to keep his name out there and all this kind of stuff. But man, there's got to be something better than a 30-team take. Nobody wants
Yeah,
that.
come on. Yeah,
No,
no,
no. I
no,
mean, people are trying to push for 16 teams, whatever. But it's not like anybody's excited about it.
no, not at all. Let's
And,
just see how this 12 thing goes. It's been last year. It was fun. Now I know it was more fun for me because Texas was a part of it and won a
but it
couple of
was
games. But it was
yeah, but
fun, right? I feel like for the seeing playoff games in home stadiums was awesome.
as a as a college football fan that did not have a dog in this 12-team fight, it was fun to watch.
Yeah,
It was fun to watch, and I think you can agree with this to an extent too. It's like I don't watch Notre Dame in the regular season,
yeah,
right? Because I focus on Oklahoma. I live and breathe Oklahoma football, and so I don't go around. You watch way more than other teams than I do, right?
yeah,
But because Notre Dame was in the playoff in week after week after week as they built, it's like I'm starting to like pay attention to their team. I'm starting to see Marcus Freeman do Marcus Freeman things. I'm watching their running backs perform, and I'm starting to understand and appreciate what Notre Dame's doing because they played 3 weeks in a row. Right? Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Great exposure
It's
for sure.
it's kind of like the NCAA tournament. By the Sweet 16, I've watched these dudes play, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, I know what they're
yeah,
about, and this is kind of fun to
yeah.
watch.
You can fall
That's
in
how,
love with the team. Yeah, for sure.
that's how I felt. I don't want to see any more teams.
Correct. I thought it was really good last year. I thought it
I
was
thought
great.
it. I think they should tweak it. I think there should be maybe some tweaks in terms of who gets automatic buys and things like. I think we can
Yeah,
agree
correct.
that the automatic buys were,
Yeah, the teams with the buys. Yeah, I mean, that was my theory going into it. Right, I was like, getting a fifth seed, you have to play, but you hosting a playoff game compared to
yeah.
playing in a neutral site. I mean, oh my goodness.
I think ASU and Boise State. I think there's an argument that could have been made that they. Well, I don't think it could be made. I think it's real that they could have generated a lot more momentum going into the second round if they would have hosted
Correct. Can you imagine that? Yeah, I mean, a playoff game at Sun Devil Stadium
a
or on
playoff
the
game
blue turf.
on the blue turf with
Come
those
on,
fans.
man.
They would have
Yes,
gone nuts.
it would have
And
been
so
great
then
to see.
and then now you
Yeah,
bring. But I think the next round. I think okay. So let's switch it around. Let's give our perfect scenario of what happened. Right. I think we all agree that ASU should have had to play a first round game, hosted a first round game, might have probably won a first round game, and then they have to go to Texas. I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
yeah.
But I think that Texas should have got the opportunity to then host a game.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
I don't think the bowl system should take place that first week. It just,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
nobody wants to, dude. If Texas would have gotten to host ASU, that would have been legit.
yeah. I mean, they did get to host Clemson because
That's,
of it being in a fifth seed, but
but you know what
it's,
I mean, right? I
yeah, I
think we
do
agree that
absolutely.
Texas. I think we agree Texas out of the SEC probably deserved a top four
Yeah,
seed.
yes,
But I also think they. But in addition, I think they deserve a home game. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah,
So,
correct.
I would
Yeah.
have.
So
So
those are tweaks I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Real quick, I was thinking about Clemson. Texas beating Clemson last year. What do you think of them going into this season? Have you
well,
had any thoughts on them at all?
I think that they're going to win the ACC. I don't think they're competing for a national championship. But look, dude, when you have a really good quarterback, it changes the dynamic. And I think we
And
can agree Klubnik's really good.
they've got two stud receivers that were true freshmen and balled out last year.
Yeah.
More. and of course Bryant Wesco, who for a while in the recruiting process looked like an OU lean,
Yeah.
right? I
Yep.
mean, studs for them as true freshmen last year, and to see those guys back with Klubnik, who I think is the best quarterback in the country. I would take Klubnik over Nussmeier. Barely. I like Nussmeier a lot. I think he's tough. I think but I love Klubnik, and I'm glad that he's developed into what we all thought he could be coming out of Westlake. Also on that team with Michael Taff and Colton Bostic and Ethan Berg. So
Oh,
that's some
really?
studs, man. Yeah, he
Okay.
was a quarterback on that team. Yeah. So
Look, I think he's a really good quarterback. Look, Dabo, we've had our discussions about Dabo, especially with his approach to the transfer portal.
he's starting to
And
evolve, though.
well,
He
yeah, because he
brought in
wants
a
to win
couple
football
guys.
games. He's a
Exactly.
competitive person. He's a
Correct.
competitive. He doesn't want
It's
to
like, dude,
lose.
you're not going to win. Like, you got to understand the
Yeah.
the best teams in the country, Georgia and Alabama are bringing in, Ohio State are bringing in guys from the portal. You can't just rely on your high school recruiting and
Listen,
development.
my father-in-law, may he rest in peace, had a saying all the time: "You can't eat principle. You can't eat it.
Yeah.
Like you can stand on it, but that don't mean you can eat it." And
Yeah.
that's what this is it, right? And you're seeing it now with Oklahoma State. Even Mike Gundy's like, well, now I think he chose a wrong set of words when he said we bought players and
Yeah.
bought. I think that goes down a path maybe that
Yeah.
he's
That's not.
known
Yeah. No need to
that
go there,
he's
but yeah.
that he's known for, right? Anyway, that's either here nor there.
Yeah.
But you got to do it, dude. Like we're all in this. Like you got to do Oklahoma, and this is why OU fan has trepidation right now because it's like, are we reverting away from this? Now, maybe we should because we went 6-7 last year. I think everything's on the table for review.
Yeah.
But it makes us nervous because it's not it's not the model that
there
we've
has to be a strategy there, and in your defense, at least you seem to have a strategy. It's time will tell if it's the right strategy, but there is a strategy there.
All right. Hey, I wanted to talk about this. Because, but I wanted to wait till later in the show when we do our stuff that we just talk about stuff. But I went to a used bookstore over July 4th out at the outlet mall. I love a used bookstore, man. It's like my favorite place in the world. And there was a book by former OU president George Lynn Cross.
Okay.
And the title of the book is Presidents Can't Punt. And he wrote basically a history of college football from about 1945 when he took over as president to the early 70s. Okay, so he was the president. Yeah, he was the president, I think, until like 1968 or 69. I haven't made it all the way to the end, but I think he goes into the early 70s. I think he touches on the beginning of Switzer. Kevin, it was fascinating because they talked about eligibility being an issue following World War II. It was very similar to very, very similar to pandemic eligibility rules. And so guys were getting 6 and 7 years of eligibility. That was one topic that was early on in the book. Number 2 was inducements. There's a big topic, like how much they could pay players above and beyond a scholarship. This was in 1949, 1950. They're having conversations. Here's what's fascinating. You ready for this? So Cross believed that he should be able to pay his players above their scholarship because clearly they can't hold down a job because we're asking too much of them. Clearly, we want them to be athletes and students. We should pay them a livable wage. You know what the livable wage was that he wanted to pay players?
What's that?
$15 a month.
Players would have loved it too. They'd have been.
Oh, I think he was paying them.
Yeah.
But isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
The conversations that were happening in 1950, you can change the dollar amounts.
Correct.
Change the dollar amounts.
The same thing. Yes.
Nothing's changed.
Correct.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma was going on in the midst. I'm. It's funny because I'm about to get to the. They just lost to Notre Dame in the 48th game. So their streak
Okay.
started
Yeah.
with a loss to Notre Dame, and a loss to it was bookended by another loss to Notre Dame. That's the
Wow. How
two
about that?
on either side. Now they did beat Notre Dame like on game 37 or something. So they did beat
Okay.
Notre
So you
Dame in
got
the
them in
midst of the
between that.
streak.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so they just lost to Notre Dame. But it's fascinating. Everybody's mad at OU, right? They're like, you're paying your players way too much. They're under investigations. They're on probation. All the things that you're seeing now when you talk about, oh well, Georgia paid, or whoever pays. Ohio State had a $40 million roster. It's the same stuff, man. It's the
Yeah.
same conversation. The dollar
Right.
amounts significantly different. It's a fascinating book. It is a fascinating book. Did you know that for a period of time, OU was in a conference that's guidance included no postseason games?
Oh, that's wild.
They relaxed the guidance during the winning streak to you could only play in a bowl game every other year.
So you have what? But you won some national championships during that, obviously, right?
Yeah, 1950, they won a national championship despite losing a bowl game.
Because they would award it before that.
They awarded it before. But then their other two championships were in the midst of the 47-game winning streak. So they did win. I mean, they were the best team in the country. There's no doubt. This is so many of those national championships back in the day are, people really question, did Alabama really win 17 national championships? Did
Correct.
they really, other teams were there, not Oklahoma, not those three teams. Like those were as good as they got. But it was really, really, really good. It was a really good perspective. You get a little Darryl Royal in there, right? Because he was there. He was one of Wilkinson's first quarterbacks. Wilkinson, you're getting inside info that every single year he was being pursued by other teams.
Wow.
And he was using that to get raises every single year. He was leveraging other team offers every year.
Him, man.
Yeah, he's the Lincoln Riley of his day, in
Yeah.
terms of just I tell you what, man, the book was written 50 years ago and it's every bit as relevant as it was then. It's
That's
crazy to me.
Good stuff.
Crazy to me. So that was my one note on that. Second note, as far as Texas alumni, Scotty Scheffler is one back at the British Open. They are playing at Royal Portrush, which is located in Northern Ireland. The defending champion is Xander Schauffele. The defending champion from Portrush is the Irishman Shane Lowry. That was a huge win for him. Scheffler again, one back, great position. He was the betting favorite going in, followed by McIlroy. I actually don't even know where McIlroy is at right now. I didn't get to watch as much this morning as I wanted to, but I will probably be up at 6 a.m. watching golf. I love the British Open for that reason, that you can just start watching golf the minute you wake up. So that's what's going on in the world of sports in terms of that. And then I want to give a movie review, Kevin. Are you okay with a movie review?
Yeah, let's do it.
Have you seen Superman?
I have not. No. Let's hear it. No spoilers, but let's hear it.
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Absolutely loved it. I loved it for the reasons that people are giving it bad reviews.
Okay.
They say it's too goofy.
Interesting.
There's too many silly, lighthearted moments. And I'm like, did you not watch Christopher Reeve play Superman? That was some of the corniest humor in all of moviedom. It was corny.
Yeah.
And that's what was fun about it. It was fun. It wasn't dark. It wasn't dreadful. It was light and humorous. I tell you what, dude, the dog steals the freaking show. The dog is so good. I love a good dog in a movie. I don't want a real dog, but I love a cinematic dog. And the dog is fantastic. And it's so good. I really had a good time. You need to watch Superman. Have you seen any of the movies I told you to go watch? Did you go watch F1 yet?
No, but I am. I just have to Casey about it, dude. We'll talk afterwards. I'll tell you exactly why I haven't had time to go to the movies.
I'm sure you're a very important person, Kevin. But go
It has
watch
nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with, you know,
F.
appearance type stuff.
F1's better.
I've heard it's
F1's
awesome
F1 is
from
better than
multiple
Superman.
people.
F1 is better than Superman. That's if I'm ranking them. I thoroughly enjoyed Superman. It reminded me of like the first Iron Man, which was fun. It was enjoyable to go watch the first Iron Man, right? Robert Downey Jr. was funny. This Superman is funny. Lois Lane is funny. It was fun. And it's like people are like mad that Superman's having fun right now. I don't even
They
understand
get
it.
used to the, Zack Snyder type, Christopher Nolan type, DC movies where they like the darkness.
Look, I love a dark Batman.
Yeah.
Batman is supposed to be dark. The Christian Bale Batmans are as good as they get in terms of superhero movies.
Yeah.
That's not the DNA of Superman, though. It's not, man.
No, yeah, Zack Snyder's was just different.
And they were fine. I thought, first of all, the dude looks like a Superman. Are you kidding me? He was those. What's the dude's name? Remind me his name.
Cavill.
Yeah, Henry Cavill. Harry Cavill. I mean, my God, if you're not attracted to that man, you might even be straight. I don't even know. But this guy was so funny, dude. It was fun. It was fun. It was an enjoyable, fun movie to watch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just really had 2 thumbs up, Kevin. 2 thumbs up. For all the reasons that people are panning it, I loved it. So anyway, that's what's going on. 44 days until kickoff, Kevin. Now, I'm going on a vacation. You're going on a vacation. We're going to be off another 2 weeks. I know that is killing our faithful listeners, but that's okay. It's summertime. Go on vacation yourself. Kevin and I will be back.
We're just preparing ourselves for the season. It's going to be awesome.
Dude, Kevin and I will be back. And you know we're going to bring it during the season, 2 episodes a week. And we're going to get your previews. So coming up in the month of August, we're going to be we'll be picking conference champions. We'll be picking records for Oklahoma and Texas. We'll be picking the playoffs. All the picks will be made. Our picks will be in. We will be loaded up with all the preseason stuff. Hopefully, we're not talking about injuries and arrests, which loves to dot the preseason landscape. But we'll be talking about fall camp and all the stuff that goes into it. And before we know it, the University of Oklahoma and the University of Texas will be kicking off the 2025 season. And I cannot wait, Kevin. I cannot wait.
And yeah, it's obviously the off season is very long in football, and we can feel it, man. We're almost there.
Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be great. I am, dude. Listen, I'm drinking the BV Kool-Aid, dude. He was a confident man on SEC Media Days, and I think he has every right to be. I hope I'm not proven wrong, but I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Dude, Texas is riding high. Texas is riding right now.
Good. Yeah,
Texas can do
good.
You can do no wrong right now, Kevin.
I've got questions. I've got, and as we get into our season previews, I do have questions, but, I am under the impression that we are now a reload program, not a rebuild. But I do have questions about a few positions. We'll definitely get into it.
Kevin.
But overall, I feel really good.
Fun as always. Have a great night, great weekend, great vacation. Enjoy yourself. Listeners, thank you for listening as always. Share with your friends. Enjoy your vacations. Let's come back ready for some football. Boom!
Welcome.